1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing the kettlebell swing.
That's not a kettlebell swing.
That's not how you're supposed to do it.
No.
What? Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Liberstark here. Obviously, this is not how to do a kettlebell swing. So I'm gonna teach you 5 steps, the so-called phases, to help you learn this ballistic exercise the right way. Before we start, if you're new here, we are a bilingual channel dedicated to the kettlebell. If you want to learn more about the kettlebell and a little German along the way, consider subscribing. The hand-to-hand swing is superior to all swing variations. It allows you to use your hips and the arm-body connection as efficient as possible. So when we talk about swings in general, we always refer to the hand-to-hand swing. Let's jump right into the phases. Phase number 0, exactly. We start at phase number 0 because the swing is the foundation for the clean and press and the snatch. And if you start using the ballistic exercise, whether this is a swing, a clean and press, or a snatch, you always start with phase 0. Phase 0 is the so-called hinge ready phase. As you can see, I'm in a hinge. I push my hips back, the upper body leans forward, and the kettlebell is approximately half a meter in front of me. One of the mistakes that most beginners make is they stand shoulder width apart over the kettlebell, then they want to start a swing, clean and press, or a snatch, and then they pick up the kettlebell and they have to start swinging the kettlebell in a weird and awkward way. So if you don't stand in this stance, in the hinge ready phase, you waste your first rep. The hinge ready phase also allows me to load my hips, my hamstrings, and my glutes to get ready for action. Phase number 1, I'm gripping the kettlebell in a so-called finger grip, not in a crush grip. I got the kettlebell loose and my fingers, the thumb is placed around the kettlebell or on top of the kettlebell. I pull the kettlebell to my body to make sure the arm connection is stable. As soon as I establish this arm-body connection, I can feel my whole arm on my belly and my inner thigh. I make sure that my arm is firmly connected to my body. Phase number 2 is hip extension. This is a mistake that most beginners make. They use the hips, but they also use the arm. So what happens is they start extending their hips, but the arm loses connection and they start pulling from their shoulders. One of the most important drills in phase number 2 with the hip extension is to keep your arm tucked in to your body. Start with the hip extension, keep your arm tucked in, and once you achieve full extension, boom, your hamstrings and your glutes are fully contracted. The arm is losing connection to the body. Phase number 3 is the hand over. This is exclusive to the hand-to-hand swing because we switch hands. I have to make sure that once the kettlebell is up in the air, approximately at chest level, I'm pointing my fingers towards the floor. The wrist is pointing down. This provides some stabilization to the kettlebell because if I start moving my wrist and my fingers, the kettlebell is moving with it. So once I make sure that the fingers are pointing to the floor, the heavy part of the bell itself is looking towards the floor and the handle is looking towards me. If I can achieve this level of stabilization with the kettlebell, I can safely switch arms. If I start using or moving my arms, wrist, or fingers too intensively, then this will generate torque and this will interfere with the trajectory of the kettlebell. So the hand over won't feel as subtle and as good if I have additional torque right there at the hand over phase. Phase number 4 is the amortization phase. In this phase, I let gravity do its thing. I don't have to pull the kettlebell. I don't have to stop it. I don't have to interfere with it. I'm just letting it fall. The amortization phase is one of the most important and at the same time one of the most difficult phases to learn, because once the kettlebell is dropping, gravity is doing its thing, I have to make sure that my hips stay forward, because I want to reconnect my arm to my body as fast and as quick as possible. And here's one very important cue that you can memorize. Maximize the time the arm is connected to the body and minimize the time the arm is disconnected to the body. So the kettlebell is falling, I'm pushing my hips forward, and I'm waiting for my whole arm to reconnect to my body. Once the arm is reconnected, we enter into phase 5, the backswing. Instinctively, we push our hips out of the way if something heavy is about to drop between our legs. This is pure instincts. So what you have to learn is you have to kind of rewire this instinct. Be able to reconnect the arm and the body without pulling the hips back. In the backswing phase, once you reach the peak, make sure that your knees are almost straight. If you start bending them too much, you're using a squat swing variation, which isn't a bad thing per se. But if you want to do the kettlebell swing as efficient as possible, keep your knees almost straight. Just use some soft knees. You don't have to stay firmly locked. You can use some soft knees and don't bend unless you want to intentionally do the squat swing variation. So let's demonstrate it for a second. As you can see, I'm making sure in the handover phase that the kettlebell, the bell is pointing towards the floor. The handle is pointing towards my body. So if I release it, as you can see, the kettlebell really stays almost motionless. And in the backswing phase, make sure that you keep your legs, your knees as straight as possible, and always make sure in the amortization phase to reconnect your body as quick as possible. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like it, share it with your friends, and let me know in the comments what your kettlebell swing looks like. If you want to see more kettlebell videos and workouts, consider subscribing. Peace out.